Imagine sending a private message, someone you love, a friend, or a colleague, and knowing that before it ever reached them, it could be opened, scanned, and analyzed by a system you never agreed to. This sounds like a scene from a dystopian movie, but in Europe, it has become a real political battle. One of the most controversial aspects has been how the recent extension remains in force after a vote in the European Parliament. In that vote, 314 members of European Parliament MEPs voted reject the extension, while 276 voted against rejecting it, and 17 abstained. At first glance, it appeared that the majority wanted to reject the measure. Chat control is often presented as a tool to detect child sexual abuse material, but the bigger concern is not what it is intended to do today. The concern is what it can become tomorrow, once legal and technical systems exist to scan private communications. Many fears it could be extended over time. History has shown that powers introduced for one purpose are sometimes later used for others. This is often called mission creep, where a limit measure gradually grows into something much broader. So imagine like you are texting to someone and somebody constantly are reading your messages, somebody constantly checking what is on your screen, and somebody constantly are over your shoulder. Not something that we want. It's something like this. However, the vote was not decided by a simple majority of those who voted. Instead, under the parliamentary procedure used for that decision, opponents had to reach an absolute majority of all 720 MEPs, meaning at least 361 votes, to block the extension. This meant that abstentions and absences effectively made it harder to reach the required threshold. Because only 3 on 14 MEPs voted to reject it, the motion failed, even though more MEPs voted to reject the extension than to keep it. As a result, the extension remained in force. This outcome shows how political procedure can be used to keep a measure in place, even when it does not have a clear majority support. Although more MEPs voted to reject it, the extinction that voted to keep it. The higher threshold required to block it means that the rejection failed. In practice, this allows a proposal that may not have passed under a normal majority vote to continue through a technical voting rule, rather than through a clear democratic approval. Another concern is that I don't feel safe because those powers could be misused now, not only in the future. Courts, regulators, and democratic institutes provide oversights. They may not always be able to prevent surveillance powers from being applied in ways that go beyond their intended purpose. There is a risk that those powers could be used. And maybe it's just me, but I don't believe like everything will be okay and we're not gonna do anything. This is not the first attempt to introduce this law. Previous version faced a major opposition, but it has now moved forward through a process that many people question. When a law affects a private communication, it must have a clear democratic support and strong legal safeguards.